Thank you. Okay. My name's Morrison. I'm the chair of the FRSA board, and I would like first to start by thanking Michael Heitmeyer for that lovely smoking ceremony. It's a wonderful start for the day. I think the scent of the beautiful lemon scent of the leaves was lovely, and it ushered us into the conference and gave us that peace and quiet to start today. Michael has kindly agreed to say a few words, so I'd like to ask him to stand up and say a few words. Thank you. I will after you.
Hello. Thank you for inviting us here today. We've got Aunty Cynthia with us, Wonnarua Elder. She's going to do the welcome, and they asked us to come out with the Association of the Local Land Council, Minda River, and we came out and we did a smoking. We apologise for stressing some people out this morning with the fire. We had a few people who were a bit concerned about it. We weren't going to do anything bad or set the joint on fire. And that's why we made the smoking a bit low-key. We didn't really need to make it worse for some people than they already were. So we appreciate everyone's open-mindedness with that. And the smoking ceremony gets done in this area. Some areas do it, some areas don't, as most of you will be aware. In this area, it gets done for a variety of reasons, and today it was about sort of just welcoming you in, fresh start when you come into this place, cleansing your spirit, making sure that you're all here in good ways. So I won't talk too much more. We're back out here tomorrow night for your dinner, for a dance performance. And in the meantime, we hope that you have a good time here. Travel safe wherever you come from, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And I'm asked to reassure you that Michael's even a member of the Rural Fire Service, and we have taken all due diligence in checking that we can hold a traditional ceremony that involves smoke, so no worries. It's now my pleasure to invite Aunty Cynthia, the local Wonnarua traditional owner, to welcome us to country. We take this very seriously. We feel very privileged to be holding our conference on Wonnarua land, and we're very grateful for Aunty Cynthia coming here today as a local elder to welcome us to her country. Aunty Cynthia is going to welcome us from in front of the podium here, and I'll leave it to you now, Aunty Cynthia. Thank you.
Okay. Anagunga, welcome. My name is Cynthia Morris. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the Wonnarua people as being the traditional owners of the land on which this important event is to be held. The word Wonnarua means hills and plains and tells us it is the land upon which the waters flow into the waterways of the Hunter River. The tribal totem is the wedge-tailed eagle sent by the spirits to protect us. When we talk about traditional country, we mean something beyond the dictionary definition of the word. For Aboriginal Australians, we might mean homeland or tribal or clan area, and we might mean more than just a place on the map. For us, country is a word for all the values, places, resources, stories and cultural obligations associated with that area and its features. It describes the entirety of our ancestral domain. I am a Gringai Wonnarua woman from the people of the Patterson, Allen and William River area, known as the Freshwater Clan, who are part of the Wonnarua Nation, the Katang language group. Our language group consists of a collection of clans or mobs. We might share the same language, social customs and territory within a specific but elastic geographical area. Our kinship, meaning our affiliation, connection and relationship with others in our communities, interwove throughout Aboriginal society, creating a very complex dynamic in which every individual had a specific relationship with every other individual, with the food they ate and with the land. We had a wide network of kinship ties and obligations that extended to trade and social links far beyond the core territory in which each mob usually moved. Our kinship relationships meant all the adults of a tribe looked after all the children and was a part of their upbringing. In society today, I pay my respects to those who provide care for our kids. As it was the past, our communities still have responsibilities for bringing up all of our children. I would like to acknowledge all other Aboriginal people who are here today from whatever part of the country you are from. I would like to welcome everyone to this event. It is the belief of the Wonnarua people that permission must be sought to spiritually protect a person when travelling off traditional lands and entering another custodian's lands. We acknowledge and honour the ancestors and elders who are the traditional custodians of this land and ask for safe travel and sharing of knowledge for everyone. The Welcome to Country represents permission for all those attending this event. On behalf of the Wonnarua people, I welcome you to this event. Please stand for 1 minute silence in respect of those who have passed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aunty Cynthia. And I think when I heard you talking about kinship there, I realised that us in the family and relationships service sector have lots to learn from you and your people. And thank you for those wise words. We've got a little gift from you. It's actually from Jo Willmot, who works for Relationships Australia in South Australia. Jo has been working with Jackie Brady, the Executive Director of the FRSA, to find better ways to incorporate both ways of knowledge and to see our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander members on an equal footing with all the other members in this sector. And Jo's been doing some good work there with Jackie. Jo has brought a painting with her, painted by one of her relatives, as a gift for you, Aunty Cynthia. And the painting comes from Uluru, so it's from the heart.
Someone who knows that ceremony is critically important. The songlines, the stories, the dances across this landscape has been really important. If anyone ever doubts our relationship, our responsibility to country, doubt no more, because this signifies our history from when time began. This is a story that keeps continuing. This is how we have lived our lives and we continue to live our lives. This is our spirit to the cosmology as well as to the landscape. This is our coexistence with all of life. As you said, our morals and our ethics stem from this law, and this is the only law that counts for us as Aboriginal people. We are now ready to open the floodgates for our songlines, for our stories, and for our dances. And we ask you all to be a part of that. It's critical that you join us to celebrate our existence. But let's not forget that this past comes from a lot of pain for a lot of Aboriginal people. I do believe that there was a lot of massacres in this place. So we carry that pain, but we're willing to share this story and to embrace all of you into what is a place of love, of heart, and of a spirit. Thank you.
So thank you, Jo, so much for that gesture and for those wise words. And thank you, Aunty Cynthia, for welcoming us to your country. I wish to pay my respects to you as a traditional elder and to all the elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to pay my respects to all of the Aboriginal people in this room and to our Aboriginal members who may not be here today. Our Aboriginal members of our organisations share with us very, very generously their knowledge and their culture, and the services that we can offer to clients are very, very much richer for that, and we don't take lightly the decision of our staff to share that knowledge with us with such generosity. It's my great pleasure today to open the FRSA conference for 2019. I'm so pleased to see that everyone has made it safely here to the Hunter Valley. Given the past week in which we have seen communities in New South Wales and Queensland tragically impacted by fires that have swept through numerous areas of the states, I'm sure you join with me in sharing sincere sentiments of condolence for lives lost and hope and strength for rebuilding that begins for many. As people working at the coalface in communities, there are many of us connected to those events, and I have no doubt that there are also those amongst us who have people with personal connections. We continue to keep all of those affected in our thoughts. By gathering here today, we're participating in one of the largest annual gatherings of practitioners, academics, policymakers working to support children, families and communities throughout Australia. We've proudly established this event as a thought-provoking platform of ideas and a showcase of the fine work that is being achieved throughout our network, through our members. This year's theme, Building the Future, Paving the Way, was chosen to reflect the necessity for us all to look one step ahead of us at all times. As organisations working directly with children, families and communities, we are seeing and experiencing social pressures, challenges and change in real time. They are impacting on people. It is incumbent on us to translate this knowledge into tangible, evidence-informed practice that grows from strength to strength along the way. So people might be wondering why we have so many speakers here to do with data. It's about the evidence-informed practice. It's very important to us to know that the work we're doing is actually working. The role we take is vitally important in the current policy and program context. As we know, many of the family and relationship services in Australia are under review through one form or another. For the Department of Social Services funded services, a range of programs under the Families and Children's Activity are under review. We're very pleased that the Assistant Minister for Children and Families, Michelle Landry, is here with us today. I also wish to acknowledge that the area from which Michelle comes is the Rockhampton region, and it's significantly been hit by the fires that have swept through this area last week. And I just recall a couple of years ago, the same area had massive floods, so there's been a lot to contend with in your electorate, and we're very, very grateful that in the midst of this current crisis, you're able to be here with us today. Further to the programs under review, the majority of those programs have also got a current end date of the 30th of June 2020. Whilst the messaging from Minister Rushton's office and the department assure us that there won't be a repeat of the grant process, which was far from ideal in 2014, we're aware that time is ticking over. As the end of the year comes closer and closer, given that we have the Minister here with us today, I must share with you our concerns of many in our network about the future of programs and in particular about the timing of decisions. So I think we all recognise that programs need reviewing from time to time, but if it can be done in a timely manner, it's much easier to cope with as an industry. Come the holidays at the end of the year, many of us have concerns that staff will start to make decisions about their future, not knowing whether they have jobs at the end of June. I know this advice is not lost on you, but we are now at a critical time for ensuring continuity and sustainability of the services. Another key issue for the sector is the nearing ever closer of the end date of the current SACS Award supplementation funding. At present, that funding provides additional and much needed funds for the sector to meet the legal obligations of all services, many of those represented in this room, to fund the wages under the now SHADS Award. For family law services over the past 12 months, we've seen organisations delivering those services invited into a restricted tender process to bid for continuity of the services for a further 5 years. And for the sector, this is a huge achievement, and it gives us quite a lot of stability. 5-year contracts really make things quite different. However, what became evident through that process was that there was no allocation for the baseline funding for wages that have been increased over the years due to the ERO and the SHADS Award. So from the baseline funding will finish at 30th of June 2021 at this stage, and this will have a very, very large effect on the services that can be offered from our sector. It remains a crucial issue for the sector more broadly. It impacts on all the organisations, or most of the organisations represented in the room here today, and it impacts mostly on the children, families and communities that they are providing services to. Whilst we are aware that the federal government is committed to maintaining and retaining a budget surplus, budget decisions are always about prioritising expenditure. The services funded by the Commonwealth are vitally important to children, families and communities across the country. Our services meet a critical need in the community, and even now there is more demand than there is capacity to meet it. And as such, making a case to prioritise government spending to increase baseline funding of services where the SACS supplementation ends is something that will be a significant focus of FRSA work over the coming months. In terms of policy reform in this year, in particular family law, the Australian Law Reform Commission has handed down its final report, and we're honoured to have the President of the ALRC speaking at our conference tomorrow and participating on the family law panel. We're also honoured to have here Dr. Andrew Bickerdike, part-time Commissioner with the ALRC inquiry. The Attorney General's Department continues to unpack that report in consultation with the sector. In addition to these processes, a joint select parliamentary committee inquiry into Australia's family law system was established by a resolution of the Senate in September this year. As the national peak, we'll be making a submission in consultation with our members, and I'm sure many member groups here today and members will also make submissions. This process began in earnest at the pre-conference workshop yesterday, and I'm grateful for those in attendance and for your engagement in that conversation. In the midst of these challenges, the FRSA conference is more important than ever, and I thank each and every one of you for choosing to be at the conference. As you'll see in the program, as well as the excellent pre-conference workshops held yesterday, the range of keynote speakers, the concurrent session program is also outstanding. These presentations provide a rich resource of information as governments, policymakers, researchers and organisations look intently at the reform challenges ahead. This year we've decided to do something around the format of the conference that's a little bit different. In many years we've employed a professional MC for the conference, and in some years someone from one of the parts of our sector has stepped up to do that job. This year, we're going to have 3 of the board members each chair a day of the conference. So I'd like to ask the board members, Paula Washington, Glenda Devlin, and Dr. Deb Hartman to come up to the stage to meet you. They will each be Master of Ceremonies for a day. Each of these people will expertly guide you through the plenary program when we are gathered here in this room. Paula, today, as we look to explore issues around evidence-informed practice, collective impact, and the key role that data plays in our practice. Tomorrow, Glenda, and they're standing in order, that's very nice, will take the reins, guiding us through the family law plenary presentations and panel. And on Friday, Deb will MC, as well as chair our final panel, probing into our panellists on the timely and crucial questions about what the national framework for protecting our children should look like. Before we move into these varied and fantastic discussions stemming from our conference theme, there are many people and organisations that we want to thank for making this conference possible. So do you want to stay, Paula? And maybe the others could take their seats again. Thank you. You'll see lots of them as the day goes, as the conference goes on. So firstly, I'd like to thank all of you for attending. It's a huge roll-up, and I guess it was a little bit of a risk choosing the Hunter Valley, but I think now that we're here, it's lovely to be out in the country and just to be concentrating on the content of the conference. It's beautiful surrounds, and it's great that so many people made the effort to be here because the conference wouldn't happen without you all. I would like to thank the FRSA board, my colleagues, who work hard in a voluntary capacity to assist the Secretariat in making these things happen. And particularly to Jackie and the team. I know we'll thank you throughout the conference and again at the end, but there's a fantastic team in our office there and they work incredibly hard leading up to the conference. So thank you to them. Also for the FRSA Conference Reference Committee. So these are people both from our board, our Secretariat, and from the general community of members, and this year that has been led by Paula, so thank you Paula and the team there. To all our conference sponsors, including our partners, the Department of Social Services, Attorney General's Department, and we welcome all the departmental staff who are here in attendance from both those departments. Our gold sponsors, Uniting, our silver sponsor, Better Place, our ochre sponsor, Relationships Australia, our mobile office sponsor, Anglicare Australia, and our exhibitors, Drummond Street, Our Family Wizard, CS Net, University of Newcastle, Athena Software, Interrelate, Emerging Minds, the College of Law, 1-800-RESPECT, Family Property, Catholic Social Services Australia, and also our reciprocal sponsors, Australian Institute of Family Studies and SNAKE, National Voice of Our Children. Just to let you know, there's little bags of nuts and nibbles on your table, and they're brought to you by Relationship Space. You can find out more about them in your packs. They are also sponsoring a lucky door prize, a $500 travel voucher from the Flight Centre. As with all our prizes, you need to be here in the room on the last session on Friday in order to win that prize. Okay. So thank you for your time in listening to this somewhat lengthy welcome, and thank you for the Minister for being here. And I'll hand over now to Paula.